What's up, friends? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. I asked you guys a little while ago on the community tab of the YouTube channel, what is the #1 fragrance that for you is just super addictive? The type of scent that you yourself and other people just want to smell all day. Type of fragrance that's going to get you noticed, get you compliments. And I have right here 12 of your answers that we're going to be going over in today's video. If you want to be in a future video, check out the community tab. I've usually got a question on there where you guys can leave your answer or upvote other people. All of these fragrances are going to be linked in the description. Feel free to check them out there. Let's get started. First up, we have Thanatology 493 who says, YSL myself. The orange blossom really pops and carries an amazing scent trail. Out of the 60+ fragrances I have, myself is the only one I've worn where someone chased me down to ask what it is. Was. He said was, not is. And this is a pretty common thing with myself. This fragrance, extremely popular. When this came out last year, initially it was just kind of like, oh, you know, like a boring kind of clean clothing type scent profile. But then it's one of those fragrances that just grows on you and you want to wear it more and more. It's ultra versatile. You can wear it everywhere. It's a big compliment puller. I mean, you could use this as a signature scent, a year-round scent, and everyone's gonna love it. Now, of course, because of that, it has sold like crazy. So it's one of the most popular fragrances right now on the market for men. Basically came out toward end of August last year, and in that last few months of the year, it went from not ranked, because obviously it can't be ranked if it doesn't exist, if it's not selling, to being one of the top sellers in the world for men. And where did it end? 7th. Yeah, so a top 10 best-selling fragrance when it came out that year and only had sales from like mid to late August through the end of the year. And myself works really well for me also. This is a fragrance that has grown on me a ton. Like I said, when it first came out, I was kind of like, pleasant, nice, but whatever. And then as I wore it, it was like, oh, never mind. I'm gonna wear this like every day. Nice. Up next, we have Brandon Abney 6437, who says, La Nuit Alone, so another YSL fragrance. I know it's a date night scent, but I wear it to work, casual strolls to the store, just about anywhere I can. My wife says it's by far the sexiest fragrance I have. How many fragrances does Brandon have? 2. The other one, Bod. Nah, I'm just playing. Bod. I remember when that stuff was advertised all over the place. I know it still exists, but I don't think they really advertise that much anymore, do they? I don't think they advertise Axe as much as they used to either. They used to be everywhere. Getting sidetracked a little bit, but it's some weird Axe commercials back in the day as well, like Dark Temptation. They had like the chocolate dude who was getting eaten by women. It's like, it's kind of weird. Back to YSL La Nuit Alone. Yes, I'm gonna give this one a spray. As he correctly points out, a lot of people are gonna think of this as a date night fragrance. And as far as designer scents go, probably is one of the biggest of all time in that realm, right? Like if you were gonna make a Mount Rushmore of designer date night fragrances where you wanted to have like some of the biggest ones on there, La Nuit Alone would be up there, wouldn't it? I think for me, I would slot the one on there, maybe the one Eau de Parfum, La Nuit Alone, and then after that, you could make an argument for a bunch of different ones, but those 2 would have to be on there, at least for me. But he points something out here that I think all of us need to wrap our heads around if we haven't already, which is, even though this is considered a date night fragrance, he wears it to work, wears it to the store, wears it just about anywhere, and it works. Fragrances oftentimes, and I've gotten on this soapbox before, so I won't take long, not gonna take much of your time here, but a lot of times they get slotted into like, okay, this fragrance is for this one situation, right? And if you're not in that one situation, you can't wear it. So it'll be like, oh, this one, summer, daytime, that's it. Or this one, office, only office. Anything other than office, you don't wear this. This is office, okay? And that happens with fragrances like this one with date nights. But if you smell good wearing it, if you like wearing it, if it boosts your confidence, wear it whenever you want. Just take into account, like I've said a million times, where you're going, what you're doing, who you're gonna be around. You don't wanna wear something that's like, you know, destructively powerful if you're going somewhere that's a little more subtle, right? Or where you should be wearing something a little more subtle. You don't want to go to the opera house, right? And have 55 sprays of Dior Sauvage on. That's all I'm saying. It's a wonderful night at the opera. People around just like, tell that man to stop coughing. You're ruining my evening. I smell amazing. Dior's done it again. They did it again years ago, I mean. So YSL Lana Weed Alone, nice. 2 little YSLs right there. Mr. Whiffy, I like that name. Mr. Whiffy is up next. You have a channel, like a YouTube channel, Mr. Whiffy? Mr. Whiffy, he's the one. He makes smelling fragrances so much fun. I know it's a popular one, he says, but LAYTON gets me the most attention. Next up would be Le Male de Parfum, he says. And finally, he's ranking them out top 3. Green Irish Tweed. So you guys would be like this, right? 3rd, 2nd, 1st. So 3 fragrances here to talk about. Parfums de Marly LAYTON. Yes, an obvious choice, a popular one, he says, and that's true. It is a big compliment puller. It is addictive. It's that type of scent that you want to smell in the air over and over again as you're wearing it. You just want to wear it over and over again because it has good performance. It gets you noticed, it gets compliments, all that stuff. Actually, I want to smell it right now, so that's what I'm going to do. And because of that popularity and also price tag, there are lots of alternatives to this one out there. Clones, dupes, inspired buys. It smells like menthol. What? Like the first whiff that I got just now off the tester strip was like menthol. Now it's getting Layton-y. What happened there? There's like one dude watching this who's like, I knew it. I knew it. When I smelled Layton, I got menthol too. I knew I wasn't crazy. He just said it. Warm, sexy, sweet. Like I said, good performance, big compliment factor. Walks that line between niche and designer. So that one makes a lot of sense. What about the next one? Le Male de Parfum. Or maybe we should say Le Male de Parfum. This is a little hype beast. And it's another one that I like a lot. And I did it again, spraying them all out. Really classy, elegant, has a nice iris touch to it. The sweetness here, not sugary, not bubblegummy or anything like that. Almost like a touch of a rubbery aspect to it, but in an enormously appealing way. And that's another one I fully agree with. I love it. And I love this one the most of all 3 of those, which means Green Irish Tweed is my jam. I have numerous bottles of this, and it's something I never get tired of. The fragrance is many decades old. You know, came out in the 80s, and yet, to me, it still works perfectly. I know some younger guys out there would smell this and think, yeah, it smells dated because it's not as sweet as a lot of fragrances that have come out recently. But I think not every fragrance that you wear or own needs to be ultra sweet. Now, I'm not saying don't have sweet fragrances. I'm about that life. I like sweet things, I like sweet fragrances. But sometimes you need stuff that reins that in and instead goes for a more classy approach, and that's what this does. Ugh, it's friggin' awesome. It's disgustingly good. Now, it does smell similar to many other cheaper fragrances out there, or have similarities to them. Things like Cool Water from Davidoff, done by the same perfumer. And then you have Aspen by Coty. You know, it's kind of similar to that. Bunch of clones as well. Very green, fresh, a little aromatic as well. Gotta keep moving. Stefan Marinkovic, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, 3755, says BDK Gris Charnel, so cozy and addictive, extremely rich and versatile. Since I got it, it became my favorite fragrance of all time. The joys of finding a new fragrance and having it become your signature scent. There is something special about that, you know? If you smelled a lot of fragrances or you're just getting started and you have like that fragrance that you get where it's almost like an epiphany. You know, you smell it and you just think to yourself, like, where has this been? This is my jam. I'm gonna wear this all the time. Yeah, it is good. Has a really nice creamy woodsiness from sandalwood, cardamom, fig, tea in here as well. And also a bit of iris, which is a note that I am a massive sucker for. So of course, this is something that I really enjoy. And I'm all for fragrances also that feature fig prominently. It's another note that I like a lot that doesn't get used a huge amount. And this one does it very well. 6 down, 6 to go. Garrett Mercier, 9186. Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male Elixir. Just an absolute stunner, man. That honey, tobacco, vanilla, lavender is pure bliss and never gets old. It's basically therapeutic. Yep, yep, these two, right? They are quite similar in a lot of ways, but also different enough that it's not redundant to own both of them. And I love both of these fragrances. To my own taste, I lean a little more Team Elixir, like if I were going to keep only one of these, but that's a tough choice. They are both really good. Elixir to me takes the powder that's in Le Parfum, which there's not a huge amount in here, but takes that and brings it down a little bit, brings up the sweetness with that honey that's in here. But overall, you could say that Elixir is maybe not as creative in some ways because this is clearly built off of this in a lot of ways. Either way, both of them absolutely killer. Love both. Michael Styles back again. He says, my addiction is Acqua di Gio Profondo Eau de Parfum 2024 edition. That's how goofy things have gotten with Armani this year. You can't just say Acqua di Gio Profondo. Can't just say Acqua di Gio Profondo Eau de Parfum. Now you gotta say Acqua di Gio Profondo Eau de Parfum 2024 edition. Armani, you bunch of wild men. What are you doing? Anyway, Michael goes on to say, absolutely hard to not give a whiff every day to it. With the added sweetness and small removal of the minerality, it's made it just intoxicating for myself and others. The performance has also been increased as well. I can't recommend this enough. The stuff simply slaps. Yeah, I agree with all of that. Whew. As I've said numerous times, Acqua di Gio Profondo is my favorite Acqua di Gio. And I'm an Acqua di Gio fanboy. I'm an OG Acqua di Gio wearer. The first one, when there was no other Acqua di Gio. When you said Acqua di Gio, everybody knew immediately what you meant. Which one? Because there was one. Like, that's when I wore it a lot. And as they started to roll out flankers, which was actually slow going, there was like the blue edition, Essenza, all of those are gone now. They also had like some special edition type stuff, but yeah, all of that is gone in the rearview mirror, but I was wearing Acqua di Gio around those time frames, so I've worn them all. And Profondo is right now today my favorite. And yet then they went and did this. Came out with the 2024 edition, got rid of the original Profondo, which in case you're unaware, you missed all that, you can tell by the bottle. So if the bottle looks like this and it's Profondo Eau de Parfum, it's the new style. If it doesn't have this gradient and instead it's kind of all more this color right here, that's the original. But yeah, they changed it, got rid of it. How could you do this? It's my favorite one. But then they actually made it better. So it was like, oh, okay, well, fair enough. Now, don't get me wrong, I still absolutely love the original Acqua di Gio Profondo, but as he said, that little extra sweetness they put in here, that tweaking of the notes, I think it's actually a little better. So, yeah, this is good. What we got next? Benny J. He says, probably one of the most underrated fragrances. 8 & Bob by 8 & Bob, and oof, look at that. There's like nothing left in there. It's such a warm, woody, and classy fragrance that I literally can't get enough of. The perfect signature scent for a gentleman. I may be a gentleman, but I'm not a gentleman. Yeah, so 8 & Bob has this whole write-up, this whole story about how this was the fragrance that JFK wore. And you can look into that if you would like to. There are a number of fragrance houses out there that have stories behind their creation, and if it improves the fragrance experience for you, yeah, sweet. Go right on with that story. Yeah, but that's kind of the draw for 8 & Bob for a lot of people. They're like, oh, this is what JFK wore, and I'm wearing it. I'm like, I'm basically JFK. Dodge. It is, though, a very classy fragrance, for sure. Has kind of a creamy aspect to it. It's, as he said, warm, woodsy, not overly sweet, and not priced that badly either, as far as niche fragrances go. And also doesn't get mentioned a whole heck of a lot either, so it's kind of under the radar. And look, let's be honest here. A lot of people, you could hit them with that JFK story, and they're gonna buy that hook, line, and sinker. They're gonna be like, wow. Up next, Ethan Spence 7102, who says, Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum, cherry and vanilla without being feminine. Enough said. That's right, enough said. Does it have cherry? Yes. Does it have vanilla? Yes. All you need to know. Ooh, it is good though, it is good. I'm a fan of the whole line, pretty much. All the L'Homme Ideals, like you can just give those to me, inject those into my veins. I'll take it, thank you. Don't actually do that though. I feel like that would be poisonous. Just saying. And L'Homme Ideal Parfum, probably the most hyped one I would say. Probably like Eau de Parfum, most hyped. Underneath that, like Extreme, probably. Eau de Parfum Extreme. What would be the third most hyped one? Maybe Platine Privé. Oh, no, maybe the new Parfum. You can let me know. But it does smell really attractive. It's very addictive. That sweetness from the cherry melding with that sweetness from the vanilla. People love that, and the opening has a nice fresh aspect to it as well. Scents and watches, 7058. I initially, when I first looked at that, I read that as scent sand watches. Like sandwiches? Sand watches? What is a sand watch? Scents and watches, He says, Stronger With You absolutely is my absolute, see what he did there? Favorite, just adore it. You and me both. This is good, very good. So I did a This Week in Fragrance here recently where I talked about Stronger With You Intensely 2024. Apparently they have changed Stronger With You Intensely for this year. Again, kind of going back to Acqua di Gio here, Armani just, they're on something this year. Now I've ordered it as of when I'm shooting this, I don't have it in yet. So we'll have to see if it is truly changed, how much was it changed, you know, all this stuff. But it does make me wonder, you know, what's gonna go on with my boy. Stronger With You, absolutely. You know, leave it alone, but they're not leaving much alone. So we'll see. For now, absolutely killer. Has that chestnut vibe that you would expect from a Stronger With You fragrance, but elevated. Great sweetness in here, great warmth as well, good performance, big compliment puller. I love it. And if you're a fan of the line and you haven't checked this out, you have to. What are you doing? Last up, but not least up, Sickles Serpents 9815, who says, 40 knots is absolutely incredible. It's something I really enjoy going back to smell again and again. Such a wonderful profile that makes you want to keep going back in. FOMO. Got a big fat bottle right here. Ugh, heavy. 40 knots is kind of interesting. It's a fragrance that I think if you've never smelled it, you'd see the name and the idea behind it and everything, and you would think, oh, it's gonna be like a very marine forward fragrance, like a very sea salty, fresh kind of vibe. And don't get me wrong, it has some of those aspects, like a woodiness, a sea saltiness, kind of a marine feel, but in actuality, it's not as far down that path as, like I said before, you may expect. In actuality, it ends up smelling a little bit similar to Ombre Nuit from Christian Dior. The quality, very high. Fragrance is very rich, but at the same time, wearable. Has good versatility to it as well. Solid performance, nice projection. Could wear it almost year round as well. Ultimately, I would say more like spring, fall probably is gonna be your best time, but you could pull it off in summer. You could wear it during the winter also. And it's one that most people, your average person out there, does not know about, and probably they also don't know about the Dior either. So 40 knots last up on this list, a great choice. So there we have it, guys, kind of a mix of niche and designer, 12 different fragrances that are addictive, that get you noticed, that have people coming in for another whiff. Thank you everyone who submitted their answers, everybody that upvoted other people's. Again, if you want to be in a future video, check out the community tab and leave your answer to whatever question is up there right now. Thank you guys, stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.